we're building these things together to compete, and our goal is to be number one and number two in every category between Rawlings and Easton. And so, yeah, it's fun to be able to tandem those things and trade off, so to speak, and be like, hey, this technology right here is a Rawlings technology. This technology is an Easton technology.
How does somebody like Will Taylor, the Bat Bros, impact your day to day? You're talking about the feedback and what you hear in the comments, but he's going through and he is individually breaking down each bat, at least each of the highest, most popular bats from each brand.
I think it's a bit of a sleeper bat, in my opinion. I think the Clout has continued to do great for us, and kind of be the bat on the one piece aluminum side for Rawlings. And the Mach is kind of like its evil twin. I'd say it's got a slightly different look to it now. It's black for 2025 with that hit of mint, but composite end cap allows for a little bit faster swing speed, a little bit less weight towards the end of the barrel.
Back to the Batter Up podcast, where we swing for the fences in every episode. Today, we are joined by the category manager for Rawlings Sports, Albee Weiss. Albee, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. This is a fun treat. I grew up buying bats from JustBats, so this is a cool full circle moment.
Tremendous. We love having you on here. What does a category manager for Rawlings Sports do?
Yeah, so I guess the kind of overarching way to describe it is essentially you're quarterbacking the product line. So, we work with an incredible team of engineers here that, specialize in whether it's composite bats, aluminum bats. We've got engineers that specialize just in testing bats and working in our machine shops and whatnot. So, as a category manager, we oversee those engineers, and kind of how they're, making progress on the bats that we put forth. So we'll bring to them a project that says, hey, one of our competitors has this really unique two-piece composite in USSSA or BBCOR or whatever, and it's gaining some traction. Let's look at how we can improve ours, and that kind of sets forth the momentum there. And then on the non-technical side and the more fun stuff, we've got an incredible team of graphic designers, and that's where we work with them to kind of engage in product validation and testing, and everything from graphics to colorways to all that. So the whole goal is to build the best product in every way, the highest performing, the best looking, the one that kind of hits the nail on the head with what the players are looking for in terms of feel, performance, and kind of overall graphic direction. And it's our job to piece that all together in a palatable way that can go to the sales team and make the magic happen and get on fields.
I love it. I love the breakdown of what it is you do. That's cool insight. I think a lot of times people just go to a store, or hopefully they'll go to Just Bats. They'll see a bat. They'll be like, oh, that's cool. I'll buy that bat. Or it's got good reviews. I'll buy that bat. But I think these interviews are important to get true understanding and depth of the work that goes in to the process to create these bats that are all over the country and the world, 12 months later. So
for sure.
When you brought something up there real quick, and I do want to get to your background and get to that, but I have a question in my head right now. So
yeah.
When you talk about, like, there's a competitor on the market that has this bat that's gaining traction, the XYZ bat from ABC company.
Sure.
With that, is that like, okay, we are seeing this in the spring, like in March, this bat's going crazy. We want to try and implement this into our bat by the next iteration, say there was a great bat in 2024. We want to have that done by 2025, or is that something we're looking more towards 2026 and beyond?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best way to put it is, it's a constant state of evolution. So, there's a lot of really, really great brands out there. We happen to just have the deepest, most, I'd say in baseball terms, fundamentally sound team where we're very adept at moving quickly on projects. So I've seen those timelines stretch out, depending on the project, anywhere from 2 years down to 6 months. It just really depends on kind of what the ask is. And, it's just constantly looking for a way to build a better mousetrap. You think that an aluminum bat is just a metal pipe that gets wrapped in grip, and there's so much more that goes into it. We can talk about it when we, if we touch on Clout or whatnot, but I mean, these are bats that are variable wall technology, all this stuff where they're using artificial intelligence to actually go an eighth of an inch by an eighth of an inch down the entire length of the barrel to make sure that not only does it pass the performance standard within, reasonable limits, but also maximize every ounce of like thin walls that we can to get that, that pop. So it's super technical, and these guys are, much better at explaining it and obviously putting it in action, the engineers. But those timelines can be pretty short depending on what we're trying to do and what the initiative is. And there's a lot of great brands out there putting out good bats, so it's just, you got to be on the hunt for what you can do next.
Yeah, that's great insight because like you think about a bat and how fluid the construction of it has to be now. So like you change something in the taper, now you got to change something elsewhere also. Like we've hit a point with bats that they're so efficient and they're so maximized that bringing that AI technology into play makes a ton of sense. Like this is going to help us really refine the bat. So I'm excited to talk on some of those bats later on down the road and how you guys are doing that. But first, I know you're a former ball player. Give a little background of your career and how you ended up at Rawlings.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a baseball guy through and through. I played other sports growing up, but never really to the extent that I loved, eat, sleep, breathe baseball. I was a Rawlings and an Easton guy from the very beginning at my core.
It's a great
And
company answer, by the way.
yeah, it's what's funny is that I wish it wasn't true because I love to be able to be like, oh, I've swung everything, and I have to a degree. But Easton was in my backyard. I grew up in Southern California, and so I had the opportunity when I was in like high school and college to test bats for them, and then actually when I got to college, I had a unique opportunity to help design the catcher's gear and things. So I had kind of been in with these guys for a long time. Was always interested in product, and then playing career, got drafted by the Twins, got to go up there and play around in the minors for a little bit and play with a bunch of big league guys when they came down to rehab or in spring training. And it was an incredible experience. And, kind of just furthered my enjoyment around product. I got to see everything because it was constantly being, put into locker rooms, asking guys to swing bats or asking guys to try different catcher's gear or whatever it was. So I became pretty ingratiated into like the product community and the people that did it. And when I was done playing, the opportunity presented itself, and it seemed like a great fit and a way to stay around the game and keep doing what I love without spending 142 games going on a bus to Motel Sixes. So it worked out well.
Yeah, is the minor league experience it's been documented in some regards as a pretty much a grind. It,
Sure.
would you say that's true?
Yeah. I mean, I think different organizations do it differently. I was fortunate. The Twins, they did what they could to make it an enjoyable experience in terms of like how you were treated. So there are organizations that have like, and I think it's changed a little bit in the last few years. Guys are getting paid more and all that. But like there were organizations that were like peanut butter and banana sandwiches and get on the road. And the Twins had a nutritionist at every stop and, really, really great spreads pre and post game, great training. We had it was called the Academy, but basically it was a hotel on the Twin Spring training grounds. So you're just living in a building with a bunch of other players where everything was taken care of for you. It was a pretty plush experience for the minor leagues. The Appalachian League, where I was, which is no longer a pro affiliate now. It's a college summer league. That was a whole different world, and I loved it. It was an incredible experience. But the places you stayed, the places you were, it was definitely all the above when it comes to like minor league baseball grinder stereotypes.
Yeah, that's a test of how much you truly love the game, huh?
For sure, for sure.
Gosh, that's a life experience though that I think a lot of ball players um would have their eyes open to if they saw, what goes into being a minor league baseball player. Because obviously we highlight the major leaguers and we laud them up as these superstars that they are, but without minor leaguers, they've got no one to play against growing up or like going through the system, and they have nowhere to even continue to refine those skills at a high level. So
Yeah, I
who
mean
was
those. those experiences for those players were incredible. Like I got to play with so many guys that are now in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And it's a very strange position to be in when you're, given millions of dollars at a young age, and then 2 days later you're on the same bus with
Yeah.
all the guys that signed for $1,000 or less, going to these little small town fields, and you're treated relatively the same, maybe a little different, but not much. So it's an interesting experience for those guys, and I think it helps them also grow and not only be grateful but continue to push for the opportunity to get to the big leagues, because the grass is greener there.
Who was the guy who was a guy that you played with in the minors that it was pretty known that he was on his track upward?
um Gosh, I mean, we had a great crop of talent just around the time that I was drafted and the players that I got to play with.
That
And
was 2018.
2018, yeah.
Okay.
So there were so many guys. Obviously, I think the obvious answer was my roommate and really good friend Royce Lewis, who is like
Yeah.
a phenomenal person and athlete. But like it was evident, there's a reason why he goes 1-1, and it's the easy answer.
You
And
roomed
he
with him?
was, yeah, him and I became really close in 2019. I was playing with him in Fort Myers on what was then High A. And then 2020 spring training, we lived together before the shutdown and stuff, and we were just, we became really quick good friends, and kind of all of us as a group were kind of a unit that would be together. And he was just like, you know, uh, excited and humble and like almost like a whimsical kid. And I was, 4 years older than him, or so, maybe 3 years older than him. It was just like such an incredible joy to be around every day, and still is, a phenomenal person, and couldn't be more of a deserving guy to be in the big leagues and having the success he has. But definitely that was like one of the freak athletes that you
Yeah.
saw. He put in the work. But the way that it came out in games was explosive. I mean, I saw home runs that were 8.5 feet off the ground and would go over an 8 foot wall, and they would have kept going 100 feet. Like it was just absurd.
That is so cool. We got to keep him healthy. We got to
Absolutely.
find a way to keep him on a field. I know we're in Kansas City, so we're kind of partial towards the Royals and the Twins being in our division, but I don't care. We got to keep him healthy. He's too much fun.
It's a special thing for baseball when that guy's healthy. I always joke because I'm like, man, so much athleticism, so many quick twitch muscles, and a few injuries here and there. And then there's guys like me that my muscles don't twitch quick. They're very slow. I would hit the crap out of a baseball, but like moving very slow, couldn't really run or throw, but like steady as they come, never injured. So I don't know. There's something to this whole like being a freak athlete thing, and having to, pros and cons.
Yeah, it's hard to injure yourself if you're not moving very quickly, I think.
That's
So,
the name of the game. Yeah.
okay, I have buried the lead here. I'm sorry. This has been fun to chat with you.
Yeah.
But we do need to talk about these bats a little bit. And
Sure.
the one bat that I really want to talk about first and foremost is the Icon. A couple years ago, you guys brought this back onto the scene in a big way. I mean, it blew up.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that, and talk to us about this bat.
Yeah. I mean, that one in particular on the U-Trip side, we like we talked about, we go to the engineers with a goal in mind, and then that goal in mind is really not settled on anything less than perfection. And that goal with these, kind of in tandem was Hype Fire and then Icon, was, build the best two-piece composite in USSSA, along with build the best two-piece composite in BBCOR. And as you know, Rawlings and Easton dominated the USA category for a long time, and then we saw some loss of market share at U-Trip, and it was like, hey, pedal to the metal. But we give these guys a mission, and they're a bunch of really, really smart dogs on a bone, and they're going to come out and build the best product possible. And that's what it was. And then, like I said earlier, it's been a constant state of evolution since then. It's like, hottest performing bat. Now let's make sure that it's also the most durable bat. Let's make sure that the feel is great. Let's make sure that if people don't like the grip, or they don't like the taper piece, or whatever it is, we're in there. We're in the comments. We understand the feedback, and it's, iterate, validate, bring to market. That's kind of the process in here. And it's more of a, no if, and, or buts about it. Just like, we just want to, go out and get it done.
I mean, the thing that I notice about this bat is the barrel. Like you pick up this bat, the barrel is hard to miss. I mean, it's massive. This is a 29-inch bat. And I mean, it's got half the bat is barrel. It's a work of art. It's engineering at its finest. So you guys have definitely done something special here with this. Um, so with the Icon, with the Hype Fire, that was about the time that Easton and Rawlings merged, right? Like, do you work with Easton at all to create these bats, or are things in two separate categories?
No, no. So, I mean, the short answer is yes. John Leffler, who's my boss, him and I oversee bats as a whole for Rawlings and Easton. We oversee it's the same team of engineers in a lot of the cases that are working on those bats. And then these engineers and our head of engineering Ian and our SVP Matt, we've made it a clear goal that we're we're too deep on the bench and with too many great engineers that we're not going to really homogenize and have the same technology within the barrels. So they're different bats in a lot of ways, and that's kind of the whole goal. Is like we're building these things together to compete, and our goal is to be number one and number two in every category between Rawlings and Easton. And so yeah, it's fun to be able to tandem those things and trade off, so to speak, and be like, hey, this technology right here is a Rawlings technology. This technology is an Easton technology. But yeah, same group of engineers, same brain trust. That's kind of bringing all of these great bats to market these days. It's a pretty special vibe around here when you see what you see on the market. You see what you see in the reviews. You see what you see in sales, and you got all these guys right outside the door that are kind of the ones bringing it all to fruition. It's pretty special.
What do you think it is about the current state of bats and the current state of USSSA and BBCOR that it seems like composite is dominating the USSSA space? However, at BBCOR, it tends to be more alloy barrel.
Sure. The simple answer is that younger kids are going to benefit more from composite materials. Like there's certain handle flexes and the way that the barrels flex that are going to create what consumers call that trampoline effect on composite that greatly impact just slower swing speeds. So when you're a 10-year-old kid, you're obviously not going to swing a bat 80, 90 miles an hour. So when that bat can help you, that's going to be what generates the difference between aluminum and composite. When you get to BBCOR, there's players that really, really benefit from a composite. There's players out there that, getting into BBCOR and whatnot, that, a 3229 Icon is an incredible bat for them because it just has a little bit more handle flexion. It has just a little bit more forgiveness across the length of the barrel. And then there's players when you get to college where you see aluminum dominate that take a Clout AI and say, okay, this bat is going to give me everything I need, and I'm going to be able to hit it where I want to. They don't need that extra flex in the handle. They don't need that the extra give of composite towards the end cap because they're isolating the baseball with faster swing speed across a smaller portion of the barrel. That being said, when we develop these aluminum bats like the Clout and the Mach, we're still giving them the longest barrel possible to make sure it's better performing when they do miss hit a baseball.
That's great. That's great insight. So going with this Icon, obviously last year was a huge success at the USSSA level. How did you guys apply reviews and feedback from the 2024 model towards this 2025?
Yeah, I mean, we're never settled or complacent in how we go about these things. We know that our competitors are going to continue to push forward and put out good product. And when you're at the top, which these bats are, there's always obviously a target on your back, and you want to kind of act in that mindset of, like I said, iterate, validate, bring to market. And if you settle, if there's a sense of complacency, that's never really healthy. So we do look at all of the comments, and we look at a lot of feedback, and we continue to validate. We have a really, really special hitting facility here in the building where we have teams in on a daily basis swinging. Hey, today is BBCOR, today is U-Trip drop 10, tomorrow's USSSA drop 5, and fast pitch and USA bats. We've got targeted groups that are in on a weekly basis to ensure that we're gathering feedback as well as testing new samples. We look at the comments and we know for 25, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to make sure that the handle is a little bit thicker with a different taper piece. The grip's going to be a little thicker. We've worked on and continue to work on durability across drop 10s, drop 8s, whatever it might be. Although the durability is good, there's always room for improvement in everything. Performance, durability, like we're building these things to the absolute peak of those things that consumers are looking for.
How does somebody like Will Taylor of the Bat Bros impact your day to day? You're talking about the feedback and what you hear in the comments, but he's going through and he is individually breaking down each bat, at least each of the highest, most popular bats from each brand. How does Will impact what you guys are working on there?
I mean, yeah, Will is he's a force in this market, and he's built an incredible following. Something that, like, as a guy who played pro baseball and goes out and, took BP every day and whatnot, I'm watching this guy and I'm like, that guy can hit a baseball and he understands the technology well. For somebody who's not in a lab with engineers, he's really built a Rolodex of like information that he relies on to rate these bats, and consumers trust it. So you guys see it, we see it, we know that he carries a lot of weight in how consumers view bats. And John, works to make sure that we reach all the levels of kind of things that he's looking out for, and we take that into account when we build our bats. He's that influential for sure.
Yeah, I mean, his surge in the last couple of years has been, quite impactful on the space. So it's always interesting to hear, the people that are making the bats, how much influence it truly has. So,
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due. He's also maintained a very fair judgment and scale of how he goes about things. Like everybody, people theorize that guy has people paying him off or whatever it is on the comments and stuff, and it's like, oh, that guy is as by the book as they come from every example that I've seen, and is just out there to provide consumers with really, really good consumers review. He's like, I've said it before, he's like the Kelly Blue Book of baseball bat reviews,
I like that.
which is good for the market. It keeps people in check, and it continues to allow people to have a sense of competition and want to continue to innovate.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Now, who should swing the icon?
Everybody. I mean, it's
There
a
it is.
bat that's it's a bat that isn't weighted in one way or another. So this isn't an end loaded bat. It's not an ultra light bat. It provides a really long barrel while being relatively light swinging. And you don't sacrifice any of the pop or performance within that. So it's really kind of the Rawlings line as a whole is designed for, the player that wants to maximize barrel speed as well as performance.
Nice. Nice. That was a good answer.
That's the truth. I can't pick a guy. That's
Okay,
it.
so we've got two more bats I want to touch on here. What has you excited about the Cloud AI?
I mean, like we were talking about, there's only so much that people think you can do in an aluminum bat. And we've done everything we can. We've used aerospace grade alloy. We've done the AI technology, which is the variable wall, which makes sure that everything is, grooved out to the maximum performance limits, thinnest exactly where it can be. So it's an exciting bat. We've done constant testing in the feedback in the hit lab for feedback on this bat against the best of the best competitors, and it continues to outperform them. And obviously, we talked about Will's influence in this space. It's a bat that he's taken to. I think it's now number 4 on his list overall, which is a credit to the engineers and what they were able to do, because he does understand performance and feel, and that kind of falls right in the top 5. So we're excited about that bat. And we saw it a lot in college lineups this year. We're hoping to see it even more trickle down into high school and whatnot, and continue to take share from competitors.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think the Cloud AI, I thought last year's model in terms of graphics was maybe the coolest bat in my mind. So you
That's
guys are
good to hear.
you're doing cool stuff there. Okay, let's talk Mach AI. What's got you excited there?
Sure. So Mach AI utilizes a lot of the same technology that we have in Clout. It has a composite end cap, which is a little bit lighter, obviously, towards the end of the bat. So it adds a little bit more swing speed, a little bit lighter weight feel. But you're going to get a lot of the same benefits as you would on a Clout AI. I think it's a bit of a sleeper bat, in my opinion. I think the Clout has continued to do great for us, and kind of be the bat on the one piece aluminum side for Rawlings. and the Mach is kind of like its evil twin. I'd say it's got a slightly different look to it now. It's black for 2025 with that hit of mint, but composite end cap allows for a little bit faster swing speed, a little bit less weight towards the end of the barrel.
Okay, so let's say you are 10 years younger. You're going into your freshman year at Northridge.
Sure.
Now, you're going into it right now. Which of the 2025 Rawlings BBCOR bats are you swinging?
That's a good question. I did swing. So my freshman year at Northridge, I swung a two-piece composite. I swung an Easton S1, I believe, or something similar.
Yeah.
Was my freshman year. And I was a big guy and I was a strong guy, and I hadn't swung a two-piece composite in the past. So that barrel flex, that composite handle necessarily wasn't the best fit for me. So I switched to what was then like a Z-Core speed for my last few years and dominated. So I would say that the Clout feels like, so does the Mach, better versions of that old Easton Z-Core speed. So I'd probably be swinging a Clout.
Okay. So you would definitely be swinging aluminum though.
As I went into college, that would probably be my bat of choice. Yeah.
What'd you hit with in high school?
I had an XL3 Easton.
Yeah.
That I used, and I also experimented with any other bat under the sun too. High school and we were kind of the first age of BBCOR. So my freshman year was the first year of BBCOR. So no BESR in my repertoire, or unfortunately for those early high school numbers. So I had an Easton Surge my freshman year, which was like the first BBCOR bat to market. S1 my sophomore year. Junior year, I think I swung a Louisville Z1000, which has since been regarded as a really good bat from that generation. And then I think I moved to the XL3 my last year.
Okay. I was at the end of Beezer, so I got the inflated numbers.
Awesome. Did you have an orange Mamba?
I had a black and gold Stealth from Easton.
Nice.
And then I had an EXO from TPX.
There you go.
But yeah, I was definitely benefiting from that. And I needed to, if you can't tell by my stats.
I can't. You look broad from here. I can't tell.
Well, don't get any closer then. Okay, Albee, I got one more thing for us. We do this with every guest here. This should be pretty fun, and
sure.
I think you'll like this a lot. So this is called Turn 2. What I do is I give you two options. You just answer one of them. You can explain why, or you can just say one and just sit in silence. It's completely up to you.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, here we go. So the first one I always start off with, Fenway or Wrigley?
Fenway. I got to hit there when I was in the Cape. It was the best experience of my life. Loved it.
Did you go over the monster?
Many times. I actually still have. Someone sent me a tweet. This is just because when you're old and washed up, these things matter. Somebody sent me a tweet of some Cape Cod employed media guy being like, Albee Weiss just went over the monster 5 times. Right? And I was like, that's awesome. Like now when I'm old and my back's thrown out, I can remember that.
Yeah, you should get that framed on your wall behind you.
I should.
Hot dogs or nachos?
Hot dog.
Okay, what do you put on your hot
dog? Mustard and onions. I don't know if that's weird and standard. I don't know. It's Costco. That's the Costco special right there.
Yeah, you need a breath mint after that though.
For sure, 100%.
Hit for the cycle or turn a triple play?
Hit for the cycle. Hardly even played defense.
Okay. Okay. The mountains or beach?
California, we get both.
Okay. I explained at the beginning, you have to choose one answer.
Oh man, fine. Beach.
Okay. There it is. Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge?
Ohtani.
Okay. And you have to step into the box against either of these pitchers. Who would you least like to hit against? Roger Clemens or Pedro Martinez?
Oh gosh. Can't give a quick one there. Probably Pedro.
Okay.
Probably Pedro. I'm just thinking of the grossest sweeping slider and just an absolute sword. So, I honestly, probably both of those guys are just dominating me.
He'd give you a show fastball that you'd think you could hit, and then he'd come back with that changeup, and it's over.
High carry fastball up and in. I'd swing out of my shoes, be late by a mile, and then change up maybe one of these.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. That's
3
the end.
pitches. Yeah. It'd be a sword.
That would be it.
You said you caught, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Who's the best pitcher you've ever caught?
Ooh, this might be a shameless plug of one of my best friends in the world, but I'll say Joe Ryan. He was my
Yeah.
college teammate at Northridge. I have the greatest Joe Ryan stories of all time that he would never want me to share, but he is an incredible pitcher, an incredible pitcher's mind.
Yeah.
Also, just the way that he analyzes life and baseball, and yeah, he's one of my best friends in the world, and so I got to catch him many off seasons of pro ball, and then also in college, of course. So yeah, Joe.
Yeah, I could see that. His stuff is wicked. I
It's
didn't realize that you
interesting.
guys were teammates at Northridge.
Yeah, yeah, we were teammates for 3 years at Northridge, and then he went up to Stanislaus for his last year, and like somehow was a red shirt, and just went up there, and I mean, he would have dominated absolutely anywhere. He was
Yeah.
battling a few like injuries and whatnot at Northridge and things, but I mean, he was just an absolute force, and with some of the craziest carry on a fastball I've ever seen. Like, you want to talk about throwing a heavy ball, like even if he was throwing at 60%, it was just like by you. So it was special.
This like current Twins team is pretty special for you then. I imagine you're
Yeah.
following them pretty closely.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably one of the only individual teams that I follow. We follow a lot of players, and
Yeah.
John and I, we work on wood bats too. So like we look at guys that are going to be, swinging Rawlings wood. So we follow those guys. Follow the Dodgers because it's a local team. My whole family's from New York, so I'll look at the Mets. But like really, my team is the Twins, just because I've played with or am good friends with half the guys on that roster, and it's special when you can root for somebody as a person and see them all up there, and random things like Joe ending up there is pretty cool. Like, he was drafted by the Rays, ended up with the Twins after I was released, but to see him like throwing to Jeffers, who was my teammate, I'm like, yeah, this is fun to watch. This is cool.
Yeah, that's tremendous. You just like named their all-stars and they're just friends. I love that. That's such a fun element. Well, Albee, I appreciate you coming on today. This has been a lot of fun. You've given us a ton of insight into the 2025 Rawlings bats. I'm excited for the upcoming releases of the Clout and the Mach now, and ultimately the Icon BBCOR as well. So, thanks for joining the show today. I hope to have you on again soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, I'm excited to, we'll do this again. This was fun. It was a walk down memory lane and a chance to get people excited about these bats. So it was a good time.
And next time, maybe we can talk about those bats behind you there.
There are some bats behind me. I don't know if I turn this, it might sneak them into frame, but yeah, we've got we're doing some fun things on the Rawlings, both the Rawlings and the Easton brand. Our graphic design team and John and I and Matt, and we're incredibly focused on what's next, and continuing to push the envelope and kind of get out there and push that narrative that that you can express yourself through these bats, and we're doing some crazy things. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we're excited, and you should shop for all your Rawlings bats at Just Bats.
Absolutely.
If you're going to shameless plug, I will too.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. And I shamelessly plugged you too, because I think my dad, the only place we ever bought bats was either like in a bucket at Play It Against Sports, plug, or mainly Just Bats. That was it.
Better plug.
Yeah, way better plug. Well, that was where the better bats were.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Again, we'll try and touch base maybe next time or next year and do this again. You've been great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
I've enjoyed this episode of the Batter Up podcast. We were joined today by Albee Weiss from Rawlings, a tremendous guest for us. Make sure to check out the Rawlings Icon, the Clout AI, and the Mach AI at Just Bats. If you're interested in more of these interviews, more of these podcasts, be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube or Spotify or anywhere that you get your podcasts. We've loved having you here on this show, and I'll see you next time.